The story The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet deals with the implications of linguistic chauvinism, which proves true the statement, "Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely." It is an example of the insensitivity of man towards human feelings, controlled by his aggressive attitude. Set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War, 1870–71, the story is narrated by a young schoolboy. His observations convey the arrogance of Prussians who attempted to rule over not only the territory of French people, but also over their minds and hearts. After defeating France and acquiring the districts of Alsace and Lorraine, the Prussians passed an order that thenceforth schools would teach German in place of French. This lesson renders a touching and emotional adieu by the teacher and his students to their national language, which is a significant aspect of an individual's identity. This story is also about the realization on the part of French people that opportunities cannot be taken for granted. The story beautifully brings to light the sense of regret at the loss of opportunities because of the human tendency to postpone the learning of things, for one always feels that there is abundant time. One never knows when the doomsday will dawn and bring an end to our hopes and aspirations. The natives of Alsace realize their folly of taking things for granted and not giving due importance to the study of the national language. They become victims of the Prussians' linguistic chauvinism, which compels them to study German in place of French. They receive their last lesson in French and bid a tearful adieu to their mother tongue. Franz was a young schoolboy in the district of Alsace, which had been occupied by the Germans during the Franco-Prussian War of 1870–71. One morning he walked reluctantly towards school as he had failed to learn the grammar lesson assigned by his teacher M. Hamel. The fear of punishment brought wayward ideas to his mind. He thought of escaping school and spending his day in the company of nature. However, he resisted all temptations and proceeded gradually, hoping to escape his teacher's attention amidst the usual hustle and bustle of early hours at school. Before reaching his destination, he passed the town hall, where he saw a great rush of people in front of the bulletin board. As an inhabitant from a war-torn area, he knew that there must be yet another dreadful message posted on the board. But he wondered what it could be. On reaching school, he witnessed an unusual calm. The class was occupied by the villagers along with the regular students. Surprisingly, their teacher, M. Hamel, dressed in his Sunday best, did not reprimand Franz for being late. Instead, he asked him solemnly to be seated in his place. The reason for the unusual happenings of this day dawned upon Franz when his teacher announced that it would be the last French lesson, because the Prussians had passed an order that sought to replace the teaching of French with German. This news sounded like a disaster. M. Hamel, however, did not let the spirits to dampen and began the last lesson with full enthusiasm. Franz was asked to recite the rules of participles, which he fumbled with as he had not revised properly. He repented his casual attitude towards his own mother tongue, and now, the fear of losing the opportunity to master his native language spelled like doom to him. But, contrary to the routine days, M. Hamel did not scold Franz. He expressed deep worry about the human tendency to take things for granted. He held everyone, including himself, responsible for the failure to learn French. However, like a true spirited teacher, he devoted the entire last lesson to pass on to the students his knowledge as best as he could. He praised the French language as the most beautiful in the world and asked his students to guard it always. He explained the lesson with patience and gave new copies to the students with France Alsace written in beautiful handwriting on them. The students too exhibited rare attention and tried to learn all that their teacher taught on that day. Towards the end of the lesson, the teacher and his students, both young and old, were overwhelmed with emotion. M. Hamel signed off his last lesson by writing in big letters the message, "Long live France," on the board.